Keep on track here. Welcome. It's good to see all these smiling faces, people I know, I recognize. I haven't seen some of you in a while, and I have seen some of you recently. So I'm glad you guys popped in. This is kind of my monthly expert series where I bring in someone that I value that has helped me in my past or currently in life, and I get to share them with you all. And because I know it'll help your businesses, your nonprofits, your churches. I have all kinds of people in my community. And actually, I even have some people recently running for mayor in big cities, so which is really kind of fun and interesting, who've joined my community. So today is really something special for you all because I think one of the biggest struggles for myself over the years. I'm Kevin Leaf. Does anybody not know who I am? Does anybody here not know? You kind of know me, Sarah. Amanda, you know me, right? Terry, you know me. And then, so Becky, I don't know if you know me. I don't recognize your name yet, but I'm Kevin Lee. I'm here in South Florida, and I've been a speaker. I've been a minister, a metaphysical minister. I've been an intuitive life coach for several years. And I've hosted easily over 2,000 events in the last probably 18 years now. A lot of that within church ministry, but also a good portion of my own outside of that. And I've probably spoken on live stages to about 18,000 plus people. So I've had quite a bit of time on stage, serving audiences and communities, building a spiritual community, building my businesses. But one of the things that I learned, it took me 15 years to learn. I'll admit this, safe space. I didn't know how to love myself. And I say that with respect and kindness to myself. And just as a point of honesty, I wasn't loving myself because I'm not joking when I say I researched, I put on, and I was present at all my events, those 2,000 events, because I was a control freak, and it was all about me and my vision and my message, and not what you think, the volunteers or whoever was helping me. I literally drove the bus at 100 miles an hour. And that was not loving myself, which was not loving my community. And so I was doing it all. Thank goodness. My husband did not divorce me because I poured my soul into my ministry and my community and into my academic career as a nurse anesthetist. So that I was putting in a good 70 hours a week between two businesses, right? And I never had help. I had volunteers who would barely show up. I got out of them what I paid them, which was zero. Sometimes they would give a decent amount, but it was never a high level because they weren't invested. I never let them be invested in my business and my mission. And I really regret that I never had a virtual assistant or much less a physical assistant next to me. And I couldn't afford a physical assistant. I had always heard about this concept of virtual support, virtual assistance, but I had no clue how to make that work for me. And I avoided that for years because it was more hassle to deal with that. The unknown made me nervous. And I can control myself and give of my soul and empty my soul and energy to everybody. And I would sacrifice myself before anything else, right? And that was a huge mistake. And I truly feel it limited my leadership. It limited the growth in my ministry and my business. It limited the funds, the revenues that I generated because I was doing it all, right? And if I had somebody to duplicate myself, then it would have literally 2 times my business, or even 3 times or 5 times, just depending on how you're utilizing the VA support. And so over the last year, especially the last year, I've been working with an agency. You'll be introduced to them shortly. And this agency has really helped me. And you'll see a gentleman over in the corner named Kay. And Kay is my executive assistant. And he's been with me for a year. We just celebrated a 1-year anniversary. And I'm very appreciative because he does a lot of things while I'm in my academic career during the week. He supports me. He duplicates me. He's doing my research. He's doing my communications and customer service. He's doing a lot of things I don't have time to do, right? In the operating room, I can't be on my phone and my iPad. So he does a lot for me. We do a lot of texting. And he literally is a blessing for me in my community. And it's incredible the amount of stress he takes off my shoulders. So I just want to kind of shine and share who this is, this handsome young guy is in the corner, and what he's done for me, and really just as an example, what he could do for you guys. So I'd like to share with you all before we go any further, just a little bit about our guest today. His name is Beejel Parmar. He's the CEO of Epic Outsourcing. And since 2009, this gentleman's been helping entrepreneurs boost their productivity and delegate smarter using VAs, right? Virtual assistants. Now, in 2019, he pioneered a no markup direct hire VA model with performance support. That's key. He's a very much sought after speaker. I've seen him myself in Miami not too long ago. He speaks at workshops, at conventions. He speaks in masterminds and summits. Definitely travels quite a bit to do that. He is known for his bold and timely message to entrepreneurs everywhere. Listen to this: delegate or drown. How can you not love that? It's really true. I drowned for 15 years, you guys. Welcome to my community, Bijal. Thank you.
Kevin, thank you so much, and congratulations on your and Kay's 1 year anniversary
Yeah,
working together. That's
very grateful.
super awesome. So welcome. Thank you so much for being here, Sarah, Terry, Amanda, William, and Becky. Really appreciate you taking some time out. Hopefully, what I'm going to share with you will be transformational, not in terms of woo-woo or not in terms of mindset. Literally a practical methodology that Kevin stumbled upon, I stumbled upon back in 2009, that has really transformed my relationship to entrepreneurship. But I want to get an idea of what you guys actually do. So if you can quickly put in the chat, Sarah, Terry, Amanda, William, and Becky, just what do you do? And have you ever worked with the VA, or are you working with the VA right now? Just get an understanding of where we're at in our relationship to this topic. Okay, let's see. Looking for some awesome. So Kevin, well, I was going to say, Kevin, 8 years. That's great. You never work with the VA. Okay, Terry, thank you for sharing. Well, let's see. What else? Sarah, have you ever worked with the VA? No VA. Okay. So a lot of no's here. This is good. All right. So I know where to pick up this conversation. Here's what I'm gonna do. Let me share my screen and let's just dive right into it. I do need permission to share my screen. And everybody can see that. If you can, just give me a quick thumbs up. Perfect. All right. So more than just talk about VAs in a general context, I want to give you some specific methodologies, some specific ways of thinking about this VA client relationship, which hopefully you'll it'll change the way you look at working with VAs forever. And I'm going to start with two topics that I think a lot of us entrepreneurs really struggle with. So type L in the chat if you have struggled with or struggling with lead generation. Just put L in the chat if you can relate to just kind of like, I need more leads for my business, right? And I'll be surprised if anyone doesn't put L in the chat. Even we, this is, lead gen is the bloodline of business. Now, the next question is, now again, you're not the only ones, by the way. Studies indicate there's somewhere between 68 to 80% of small businesses, which include solopreneurs, micro businesses, and the small end of small, not just struggle with lead gen, they just literally find the work of lead generation daunting, time consuming, and a lot of them just hate doing it, right? Because it's not why we signed up to become entrepreneurs. We usually have a passion for a topic or a service we want to provide. The next area is a lot of people will generate leads, but then struggle with conversion. So if you are a person who identifies that you're struggling with conversion, put S in the chat. Let's see if that's also true for a lot of you out here. Now, when it comes to sales, it means we got probably some leaky buckets because 79% of leads actually do not turn into sales, which means that you meet somebody, whether it's through networking or through they're interested in your service, but for some reason or other, they haven't become a client or a prospect. So we want to I'm going to focus in on today, how do we use VAs for these two areas? And we'll talk a little bit about the other areas too, only because I know that this is a problem area for a lot of us small business owners. Great. Now, there is a cost to these leaky buckets. There's a cost to not generating leads, and there's a cost to sales. I don't know what that is for you. having talked to literally thousands of entrepreneurs, sometimes this runs into eight figures across a lifespan of being an entrepreneur. But again, we're all individuals, but think about that for a second. Think about what is it costing you not having, not improving your lead gen or not improving your sales. And again, we'll go into some deeper reasons of why. So here's some insights you'll take away today. Why I believe outsourcing is not just a nice thing to do, but literally it's critical for the survival of businesses, especially in this day and age. Tactical ways that VAs and EAs can help you increase leads, build your brand, and increase sales. Why you should consider hiring an ELSA assistant. Now, you're probably wondering, Vijay, what's an ELSA? Even Kevin might be wondering what's an ELSA, and I'll explain the ELSA model in a short while. 7 keys for a successful outsourcing, and options for hiring VAs without paying markup fees, and how we pioneer this model. And hopefully at the end we'll have some time for some Q&A, right? Now, we have created a guide, so I'm going to be going through this pretty rapidly. So when I get into the lead gen and sales tactics, don't try and write down everything. I'll send Kevin the guide and send it to you. Literally, we've documented all the different ways that we are aware of that we plus our clients are using VAs in these topics. Okay. Now, I did realize that many of Kevin's clients are coaches and fellow speakers. So I've created a separate free training. Okay, there's no cost to it. If you go to outsourcingroi.com/speaker, it's a 3-part training video on how to use VA specifically if you are in the speaking or coaching industry, or a coach that wants to speak to get new clients. So that's a very specific training, kind of an add-on to what we're going to talk about today. So outsourcingroi.com/speaker. Okay, let's just dive right in. Part one, why I believe VAs and EAs are essential for our business. So I believe any given day, any given week, we are wearing multiple hats in the business. Now, here's the challenge. Now, if you relate to wearing multiple hats, put the word letter H in the chat there. Let's see if you are a hat juggler like many of our clients, right? Now the question is, how many hats do you juggle in a day? Now remember, every time we switch hats in our business, it's a drain on the brain, right? Because it takes the brain time to switch from, say, a tactical task to an admin task, to a strategic task, to a social media task, to a creative task. So every time we are changing hats, it's literally draining our mental energy, right? Now, in addition to that, a lot of entrepreneurs they feel trapped by tedious work. They're feeling stretched by the demands of entrepreneurship and running a business. They're burning out because of the busy work. And oftentimes this is leading to procrastination. We have so much to do that we often end up doing nothing, right? And now we have AI, right? Hailed as the great savior and solutions for busy entrepreneurs. But when I've talked to entrepreneurs, so many claim they're feeling actually even more overwhelmed because of the relentless releases of new AI tools, having to stay up to speed with all the different technologies, right? So are you feeling a little bit AI overwhelmed? Put the word AI if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed by all the AI coming at you every single day, right? I agree, and I'm the same, right? So, but here's what we do know. For decades now, probably over a decade, at least I've been doing this since 2009, every single book on productivity has a chapter that mentions outsourcing to VAs in some shape or form. So we know that VAs have been an integral part of the entrepreneurial landscape for probably a decade, probably 2 decades now, right? So we're going to go a little bit deeper into why that is. Now, first of all, when people think of using VAs, they're often thinking of delegating a few busy tasks here and there. The reality is we have VAs that are literally in every single department function in our clients' companies, right? So today we're going to focus on 2 areas, marketing and sales side of things. But that doesn't mean that the VAs cannot be useful in other areas. Now, the challenge is, as small businesses, as micro businesses, as solopreneurs, we don't often even look at our enterprise, our business, as a business, right? We wake up, we just get on and do the task. But the reality is, Whether you are a business of one or a business of 10,000, we actually have very similar departments. We've got our marketing, we've got our social media, we've got our sales, we've got our finance, client services, right? But as solopreneurs, we tend to wear the hats of every single department. And then it's no wonder, A, we don't produce the results we truly desire, and B, it leads to burnout and overwhelm, and often falling out of love with that passion we have for starting a business. So this is more than just delegating a few busy work. This is about how do we win our time back so we can become really passionate about what we do. So we're going to focus our conversation here, but it doesn't mean that VAs can't help in other areas of business. Let me give you a perfect example. This is actually a list of things that my team do for me. Now, everything in green are some, not all, of the what I call income generating activities handled by VAs. Everything in white are what I call the operational things, things that have to get done by somebody in the business. And everything in yellow are the ways that they keep me on track to make sure that I get things done, right? Now, here's what I want you to take away from this slide. If everything in green and everything in white was not being handled by my VAs, it's only two outcomes. Either I have to do it, or like many entrepreneurs, they don't get done or they don't get done consistently. These are the problems and challenges that we are looking to resolve by integrating VAs into our business. Now, to simplify this, I created a model. It's called outsourcing ROI. The R stands for when we start working with a client, the first thing we'll do is how can we reclaim time from busy work? Thus, if I can help you offload that busy work to a VA, that means you've got now more time to work on what you enjoy doing or what's the best use of your time in the business. Number two, what are you avoiding doing? You go maybe to a workshop, you buy a course, whatever, with all the best intentions of implementing those things. I'm just curious, how many of you have ever bought a 997 course or a program or something, or maybe it's 497 or 297, whatever it may be, and had all the full intentions of going through it and using it or doing something with it, and it's still sitting in a hard drive I just go sitting on your shelf somewhere. That shows my age, but nowadays it's probably sitting on your hard drive. If you're a 997 culprit, put 997 in the chat there if you've ever done that, right? Any other 997 buyers? You've bought something for 997, 197, 97, all the intentions of doing something with it. Yeah, across the board, right, Kevin? So yes, so we're guilty of that. But here's the thing, we had the intention, we just didn't have the manpower, right, to do it. But now I'm going to give you ways of turning that knowledge into something that you can actually start implementing in the business. And the last area is how can we use VAs to increase leads and sales, right? Now, it doesn't mean that's in this priority. Sometimes it means that we're only using VAs for increasing leads and sales. Sometimes it means we're only using VAs to overcome task avoidance. And sometimes it means we're only using a VA to reclaim time from busy work. But the ideal solution is, what if a VA or an EA can come into your business and help you in all of these three areas, right? Now, model number two that we pioneered is what I call system first outsourcing. Given that if we could wave a magic wand, the VAs would come in and transform our business and do everything, would be magical. But the reality is that we're all working with limited time, limiting budgets, okay, and limiting mental capacity for managing a team of people. So we pioneered this thing called system first outsourcing. What that means is, any given point in time today, what are your core or primary goals that you are trying to achieve? Now, a goal could be something you're working towards or a challenge you want to overcome. My next question is, what is the system or systems that will help you achieve that goal or overcome that challenge? Now, what is a system? Well, a system is a collection of, it contains a process or SOPs. There are often software platforms that it might be part of a system. There's AI integration. There are some assets that make up a system. There are KPIs. Now, let me explain. So Kevin is running a system today, right? The system included inviting you here. The system included an email messages that went out. It includes the technology of Zoom. It includes the process of setting up the event, having Kay send out emails, setting up the Zoom invites, etc. So there's a system that Kevin used to achieve the goal of putting on this webinar today. And finally, there's the role of the system operator. So rather than looking simply at VAs as task doers, start thinking about the systems that need to be run by somebody in your business that will achieve a particular goal or help overcome a challenge. That's going to help you optimize your VA EA relationship, right? Now, model number three is we pioneered what I call outsourcing the performance, right? So we want to, once we hire a VA, how do we keep the VAs working and the best performance? So again, we pioneered what I call the outsourcing model. So what we do with our clients is at the end of every week in the onboarding phase and at the end of every month, we have our clients rate their VAs from 1 to 5 star. And that rating allows us to help our clients optimize this VA relationship. So just some of the ways that we've been able to pioneer over the last 5 years of how to get the most out of our VA relationship. Now, what does this word VA mean? Well, the industry knows them as virtual assistants. I'm not a big fan of the word virtual. I like the word vital, right? So whether it's a VA, traditionally known as a virtual assistant, or an EA, executive assistant, to me, they're all vital assets to the business. Why? Because the work they're doing is necessary, essential, and important. Now, let me add this slide in here. When it comes to outsourcing, most people are very comfortable and more likely to outsource the project development. What I mean by that is building a website, maybe editing a book, creating a logo, creating a graphic, creating a flyer, right? Or a funnel or a webinar. This is the building of the asset. And most entrepreneurs will spend literally tens of thousands of dollars building the asset. What they won't do though is neither they or they don't have anyone on the team cranking the wheel. The mundane, overwhelming, repetitive, boring, I don't want to, dislike doing tasks. These are perfect roles for VAs. Why? Because that's what you hire them for. You hire them to crank the wheel, right? It's things as we entrepreneurs, we don't like cranking wheels. We love the excitement of setting things up. We like things to be unique and different. But when it comes to consistency, not usually our strong point, right? So again, most people comfortable spending tens of thousands of dollars building assets, but they resist investing in somebody who does that day-to-day boring work that is essential for the survival and success of almost every single business. Now, when people resist hiring VAs, the number one reason is, I don't think I can afford it. And here's the thing, it's probably costed you and costing you a fortune resisting hiring a VA. Why? Because it's costing you time, because if they're not doing it, you're doing it. It's costing you money because they're not helping you make more money in the business. And more, maybe most importantly, it's probably costing you brain power, right? Because it means that you are now using your brain power on things that can be done for $5, $6, $7 per hour. Now, this is very personal. I didn't step into entrepreneurship with this awareness. In fact, I have a background in engineering. I have a background in systems. I have a background in systems failure analysis, right? And in 97, I moved to the US. And in 2000, I stepped into the world of entrepreneurship, right? I was following the pathways to this glorious sunshine that people called entrepreneurship, the freedom to do what you want when you want it, right? But the years between 2000 and 2009 were a real struggle. I couldn't get any of the businesses I started off the ground. And in 2009, I had this dark night of the soul moment. I really, to be honest with you, I felt suicidal. I was going to the seminars, I was walking on fire, I was reading the books, right? But nothing I was doing seemed to attract success into my life. And I picked up a book. And the book I picked up in 2009 was The 4 Hour Work Week. Now, of the many takeaways, I distilled it down to three things. What's the highest and best use of my time? See, what I realized was reading the book that if the moment I got to a place in a business where I had to do some of the busy work, I would resist doing it and create excuses for why it wasn't working. Oh, this business isn't for me. It's not the right, thing for me. What I didn't realize is self-sabotage, right? That when I got to the place in the business that somebody had to do the busy work, I didn't realize that I was the one who was resisting doing it. Number two, I learned the principles of outsourcing busy work, why it's important for the survival of a business. And number three, how do you leverage a global workforce? And back then, specifically, it was the Philippines was the most talked about, right? Now there's VAs in other parts of the country, other parts of the world as well. I was so inspired by the story. In 2009, I started with three VAs, a small agency. Literally weeks later, I joined a much bigger agency and helped grow that to over from 100 to 500 VAs. Since then, I've been speaking on stage, teaching at mastermind groups. And in 2010, I had to leave the US. My lawyer screwed up immigration, and basically we left the country. We sold everything. We left the country. We thought we'd be gone for about 6 months. We ended up being on traveling around the world for about 5 years, and it would not have been possible if it wasn't for working with VAs supporting the growth of the business. But in 2019, I started a brand new company, and I'll talk more about that a little bit later on. But I launched Epic Outsourcing with a very different philosophy. Now, I'll keep it very short for now, but the main thing is most agencies, they work on a profit per hour basis. They hire low and they charge high. I wanted to focus on the performance. How do we get the best out of this relationship between you, the client, and the VA that we also look at as our clients? So here's a summarized version. No markup fee, as Kevin said, so we don't charge a markup fee. There's no, you're not tied into a contract of 6 months or 12 months, whatever. It's just like hiring anybody else, right? Once you start working with a VA, if it's not working out, you can let them go. We have a professional hiring team. We have a proven client to VA matching process. We have a lifetime replacement. So if anytime one of our clients hires a VA and that they're not happy with the VA or the VA quits, there's no additional cost to replace that VA. We provide ongoing guidance, support, and training for our clients, and we provide ongoing guidance support for our VAs. We'll talk more about some of this stuff later on. Now, for any reason, if you have to drop off and you want to learn more about who we are, what we do, and some of the strategic ways we're helping clients, you can go ahead and Jovin's on this call as well. You can meet with Jovin, and she'll kind of do it like a little bit of a deep dive for you on your business and figure out how we can best help you. But let's get into the heart of the matter. What can VAs actually do tactically to support you? Now, I want to break up the three topics: brand building, lead gen, and sales, because people often get these confused. And I'm going to use this model as an example. When I say the word think of an electric car, most people are going to think of a Tesla or a Prius, or if they bought their own electric car, they might think of that. But brand building is basically the act of getting your name recognized out there for what you do. Now, lead generation is the act of getting you onto the parking lot, right? Whether it's through advertising or radio or TV, I want to get you from being interested in electric cars to actually coming onto the sales lot. And sales is where somebody comes out to greet you and says, "Hey, looks like you're interested in an electric vehicle. Let me help you and help you make a buying decision." So this is how I compartmentalize these three things. Why is that important? Because people often will spend their money on brand building, hoping that brand building will generate fast leads. And it doesn't always work like that, but we'll explain that in just a second. So let's look at lead generation activities. I've broken it up into direct and indirect. So these are just some of the ways that we and some of our clients have used VAs to create what I call direct outreach or a direct lead, right? Data pulling and then cold emailing, DM marketing on social media, LinkedIn outreach, Facebook group marketing, LinkedIn events, meetup events, alignable outreach, cold emailing, warm and cold calling, podcast prospect outreach. Now, let me clarify that. It means you're the host of a podcast and you're using the podcast to invite potential clients as guests to be speakers on your podcast. At the end of your podcast, you might make them a soft pitch about what you do and hopefully turn them into a client, right? Appointment setting, forum marketing, omnichannel SEO, right? Now, these are some of the ways that we call direct lead gen. Now, here's another way of, here's an example, right? So this is something that's working for us for the last 12 months. I do an event a little bit like this, but public. And we have about 20 different ways that we can potentially invite people to come to that event. So it's called Event Promo Flywheel. German is the one who basically is the implementer of the entire system. It's a very admin heavy methodology, but it works every single time, right? So again, why is it a perfect role for a VA? A, because it works, it's a system. B, because it's admin heavy. I wouldn't do it. You know, even though it works so well, I know I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't have the patience to go to every platform, set up the description, send out the invites, etc. Right? But I help build a system, and now Joven implements the system. Next, LinkedIn, right? We should all be on LinkedIn, right? For any form of B2B, we should be on LinkedIn. We should be on it every single day. But like I shared, just because we know we should be doing it doesn't mean that we will. But again, another ideal role for a VA. Why? Because there's several different steps. There's posting content to build your authority. There's commenting on other people's posts to get you noticed. There's connecting with the right prospects. There's starting a conversation, and there's converting into an appointment or a sales call, right? Again, very admin heavy because there's multiple steps, a perfect role for a VA. Now let's look at indirect lead gen. And what do I mean by indirect? It means that like this is an indirect method, right? So let's assume for a second Kevin was not a client. Kevin was just a someone who had a community of people, and I would then use my VA to find Kevin, say, Kevin, it looks like you have a community of people, and some of them might be entrepreneurs. Could we do a webinar together, right? So that's indirect. So I'm going through Kevin to get to you, who might end up becoming clients of ours, right? Uh, so you can do that, through online events, offline events, in-person events, finding and managing potential JV partners. In fact, it's one of the ways we use LinkedIn is for actually finding potential partners. We work with a lot of business coaches because we know that business coaches work with our end clients, managing affiliates. So these are all indirect ways a VA can help you with lead generation. Now let's talk about brand building. Now, brand building is really about putting your content out there, but content aligned with your brand, your business brand, your personal brand. Different ways: social media, podcast. This is you being a guest on other people's podcast, YouTube content, LinkedIn content, articles, posting on different forums, press releases, guesting on TV and radio, right? So this consistent effort of you telling the world what you do, why you're so good at it, is what I call brand building. It doesn't mean that you won't generate leads. It's usually a much longer cycle, right? Sometimes it takes months and months of activity to make any of this work. But even if it doesn't generate a single lead, it's still important because why? Because people are checking you out. They want to see the credibility. They want to see the authority. Sometimes you might be using a more direct way or indirect way to generate the lead. But when they come into the sales aspect of it, right? Like many of you might go away, hey, who is this Beejel guy? You might go on social media and say, does Beejel show up on social media the same way he's showing up on this webinar today? That's brand building. Okay. I'm going to just stop for a second and reshare my screen. Optimize for sound. Yep. Perfect. Right. So again, all of us should be doing some form of video marketing or video brand building. But the reason we don't do it is there's a lot of things. And apart from shooting the original video, there's editing, there's posting, there's titles, there's captions, there's B-roll. So this is one of the things that one of my VAs does for me, right? So I'm going to show you a little clip here of a video that's produced, entirely by my VA. As a business owner, your time is valuable. But let's be real, emails, scheduling, and endless tasks can eat up your day. That's where AI steps in. From automating emails and customer replies to generating content and analyzing data, AI takes care of the repetitive stuff. And what do you get back? More time to focus on growing your business or simply enjoying life outside of work. At Be Epic, our VAs know how to master AI tools so you don't just save time, you own it. Okay. Did anybody notice something unusual about that video? I'm just curious. What did you notice about that video?
I loved how it jumped around and it focused on key points somehow.
Yeah, but what else? What else did you notice about that video? What if I told you that I didn't say any of that? I didn't script it.
Ah,
I didn't script it. I didn't say it. I didn't edit it. I literally, I shot, that was me standing in place. I did shoot the original video, but that's not what I said. I basically said, hey, welcome to Be Epic Outsourcing, blah, blah, blah. Now, that's where AIs come, right? that now my VA who does my video, she can take that one template that I shot and use it to create hundreds of videos on different topics related to outsourcing, right? So just that was just an example of where AI video technology is today. And here's the thing, it's as bad as it's ever gonna be. So if you're resisting, if you know you need to be putting out content and you're resisting doing it, imagine shooting 5 or 10 videos one time and then having a VA then use that over and over again, cycling through, creating content on your behalf, right? So I just wanted to share that as again another way of thinking about using a VA. As a business owner, and my VA works, my social media VA works for me about 90 minutes per day, sometimes an hour, sometimes 2 hours, depending on what I've given her as content. So some of these positions do not have to be very expensive to you, right? So we don't have to have full-time people. We can have some part-time team members as well. So let's talk about sales support, right? Many of you may be out there networking either in person or online. Here's some things that your VA can do, especially if it's online networking. After the networking event, you download the chat. You can give it the chat to your VA to scrub, find any potential leads from the chat. They can add those leads to sales CRM, connect with those leads on social media, send follow-up messages, and then schedule meetings. Why is this important? So many people go into networking events without any kind of system or post networking system. We know that it can take anywhere from 7 to 70 touches, depending on which guru you're listening to any given day. But the point is that without consistent follow up, most of these leads will never turn into clients. But this is, again, it's an admin heavy systematic role that a VA can be doing for you, right? So, again, just another way to use a VA. Community management. As Kevin shared earlier, Kay is helping him manage his community. There are many different functions that a VA can play in helping manage a community. So if you have a community on Facebook, on School or Circle, whatever it may be, again, think of using a VA to administer that community. CRM management. I used to say, a few years ago that, hey, if you wake up in the morning and you want to make friends, go on social media. If you want to wake up in the morning and you want to build a business, check your sales CRM, right? But the reality is we don't, because most of us don't like looking at data in sales CRMs. But again, a perfect role for VA. Now, your sales CRM is the lifeline. It tracks the progress of a prospect coming in to becoming a client or a customer. But the act of managing the sales CRM is often, again, administrative. It's not exciting. So again, we've got to start looking for these things that we are resisting doing, that a VA can come in and for about $6-7 per hour start to help us with those tools. Okay. Now, newsletters, if you're thinking of doing newsletters, then, again, a VA can help. Now, they won't write the newsletters. They'll be using GPTs or AI that you've set up that will help them do the research, create the template. Always advise you to at least look them over before they go out to your client base. You want to make sure that, even though the VA is using, AI, that the AI is not saying things that you don't want out there, right? But again, 80% of the heavy lifting, 90% of the heavy lifting can be done by VAs, again, using AI technology. Okay, now pause. So I've gone over quite a few different ways VAs today tactically can help you. And you're probably in a little bit of overwhelm just looking at all those options. Here's the thing. You don't need to start with everything. What I always suggest to clients is you start with a wheel, right? The middle is basically the objective, which is leads and sales. Then you make a kind of a wheel like this of all the different ways that could work for you, right? Just start with like a brain dump of, okay, hey, in an ideal world, I'd have all these different things working for me. And then you narrow it down to a few, maybe even 3 or 4, right? You don't need to do everything. Then pick your top 3 or 4 and then, figure out what's the role of the VA to support you in those 3 or 4 things and start there. It may be 2 hours per day, maybe 4 hours per day. For some of you, it might be 8 hours per day again. So, we all have different budgets, different constraints, different limitations. But the key thing is that there is one or more of those tactics is going to work for you. When somebody's doing that work consistently, you're going to start generating more leads and increase your sales, right? So again, What we like to do is, again, this is an everybody information. When you meet with Joven or Brittany, one of my other team members, they'll basically walk you through, they'll get to know your business a little bit better and make some recommendations based on where you're at, your budget, and how you can best use a VA, right? Okay, let's go into part three, the ELSA model, right? So let me explain what happened here. So first, let me explain what does ELSA actually stand for. ELSA assistant, what we just shortened it to ELSA, is this: an executive level assistant that can help with lead gen, sales support, they can operate AI, they hold you accountable assistant. In other words, an executive level assistant that can help with lead gen, sales support, operate AI tools, and keep you accountable. Now, this idea is actually kind of new, maybe around 3 to 4 weeks old. Let me explain. I was consulting with a client and she wasn't using, she had four VAs, not our VAs, four VAs, and she was unhappy with the performance of the VAs. And I said, well, tell me what they do. And not one of the VAs, right, out of the four, not one of them was doing anything active to generate leads or increase sales. They're all doing busy work. They're all, doing admin level work, which is great, but it wasn't helping add money to the business. So I said, well, why don't you take one of your assistants, one of your EAs, and have them do lead gen? And she goes, can I do that? I was like, what do you mean? She goes, well, I thought they were an executive assistant. I thought all they did was admin level work. I said, I don't know who told you that, but that's not true at all. Right. So that's the birth of the ELSA model. So let me start off with the difference between a VA and EA, right? So they do similar things, but an EA, an executive level assistant, well, not should be, they're generally more confident, they have better communication skills, they don't wait to be told what to do, they're more in control, they control our chaos better, they have the courage to push back, and they hold clients more accountable, which is really important. I'll talk more about that in just a second. And they can also help with planning and task scheduling and stuff, right? So again, it's just a higher level thinker and a communicator than just your general VA. It doesn't diminish the role of a VA. I mean, VAs generally like to be told what to do, they do it. But if you're looking for somebody who can kind of add value to your business, maybe challenge you a little bit more, that has better level of communication, then you're looking at an executive level person. Now, Joven is my EA. So when Joven started, she started basically supporting me with that what I call your traditional EA tasks: email management, DM management, customer service, etc., billing, invoicing. But as her role evolved, she stepped into the role of helping with lead generation. I told you that she manages our entire webinar funnel, right, where we do an event once a month. And she does a lot of our sales calls. Well, not a lot, she does almost all of our sales calls. So that's where the ELSA model came from. So the E stands for the executive level work. The L and the S is the lead gen and sales support. And when you do that, you're going to have superior outsourcing ROI just automatically. But in this day and age, a EA has to be able to use AI. So using AI tools, AI systems, managing AI agents. And this is a very powerful dynamic duo combination. The A is accountability, probably the most underused way of working with a VA. What that means is it's a combination of helping with weekly planning, task scheduling, asking you, what are your daily commitments? Just the fact of Joven telling me or asking me, Bijal, what are you going to do today? Changes my focus for the day. It gets me back online. And remember, we have to be aware of our own behavior and our own habits that sabotage our business. And then we can use a VA to help course correct that. So that's the ELSA model. Now, let's look at 7 keys for successful outsourcing, right? So hopefully by now you've got some ideas and expanded your awareness of how you might, should, could use a VA in the business. But I want you to be successful, right? Just you becoming aware of what a VA can do is going to help. We have to build in the systems for success ourselves. Now, before I share the 7 secrets, I want to share typical reasons why outsourcing fails for a lot of people. First of all, most entrepreneurs do not create good instructions for their VAs, right? They hire a VA and just expect the VA to be mind readers and know what they should be doing. Lack of systems and processes. It doesn't mean that we are running our business with a lack of system processes, but most of them are kind of haphazard and in our head. Now, here's the thing. You do not need to have perfected systems in the business before you hire. In fact, you probably won't. What you do is you hire a VA that's competent in that area of or their area of expertise, and actually ask them to build a system, right? But it's a mutually kind of, you have to work together with them for that system build out. Number three, people then rush the hiring process, right? They all of a sudden they wake up one day and realize, you know what, I need a VA. They attend a workshop and some guru on stage that they respect said, oh, you should hire a VA for that. And next week they want to hire a VA, or they have an event coming up and they need a VA to help them with the event. We got to remember we're hiring a team member, and the way we hire is we think of them, we want to have this team member for the life of the business. It isn't just a quick fix, remedy, a bandage, right? We're hiring people that we expect to keep in our business for a very long time. Poor onboarding, once they hire a VA, there's no onboarding process. They have high or unrealistic expectations on what the VA can and can't do, not providing adequate training, poor communication. They don't meet with the VAs, they don't provide good feedback, and they don't review the performance of the VAs. So we understood this again from 15 odd years. I've kind of documented all the different reasons, and there's a few more, but these are the top 10 reasons why people seem to struggle getting the best out of their team. So from there, we said, okay, well, if you're not going to work with us, here's what you need to know about how to have a successful relationship with the VA. First, you got to know what your role is meant to be in the business, right? Everything starts with awareness of what's the highest and best use of your time. Next, we've got to prioritize what do we want to delegate. Then we've got to see what are the systems, whether the systems are lacking or need to be improved, that will increase the chance of success. From that, we write a detailed job description. We then have a professional, you should have some sort of a professional hiring process in place, which means that don't just haphazardly start hiring, build a process for yourself. Evaluate VAs as they come in, as they apply for jobs with you. Have a patient onboarding process, allow that new team member time to integrate with you, and then on a regular basis, do performance reviews and provide feedback. So again, if you're not going to work with us, these are the 7 keys. If you follow these 7 keys, these 7 secrets, you'll do far better at your hiring process than most entrepreneurs. Now, again, for those of you who want help though, and you're like, Beejel, this is great, but where do I hire VAs? Let me show you how we've been doing this for the last 5 years in the new business, right? Now, before I start that, let me share the 3 typical ways people hire VAs. Number 1, freelancer sites. Great for projects, not the best for hiring ongoing team members. Number 2, what most people are very familiar with is working through an agency. Great option. They should have their own hiring process. The challenge is though, high markup fees, which means that they're typically squeezing the VA pay down to $1.50, maybe up to $4. But most agencies do not pay the VAs well because such a high talent pool of VAs these days. This leads to high team turnover. Then the most affordable is hiring direct. It's you save money. The VAs typically make more money. They're happier working from home. The only challenge is who's there to support you when things go wrong. Now, if now that you've been on this, I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing ads in Facebook and Instagram and other places from other VA companies. It's funny how they're listening to whatever you're doing and saying these days. And typical ads will have a dollar amount placed in the ad, $10 per hour, $11 per hour, whatever it may be. Let me explain what these dollar rates mean. So when you see a dollar rate, $9 to $12 per hour, what it means is about $2 to $4 is being paid to the VA. About 5 to 8 is what you call the markup fee or the profit. Nothing wrong in profit. All businesses need to make profit. The concern is though, the VAs are typically ones getting squeezed on pay, and they're the ones doing the ongoing work. Now, let's look at it financially. So if you hire through an agency, let's say at 22 days a month, $10 per hour. If you hire a VA, say for 4 hours per day through an agency, you're probably spending somewhere between $800 to $900 a month. If you hire a full-time person, you're probably going to be in that $1,700 to $1,800 per month through the agency. Now, if you choose to hire that VA directly, let's say you can find a similar level VA, not only can you afford to pay a little bit more, now a little bit more to you is a lot more to the VA, right? So now for the same number of days in a month, same level of VA, you're paying half. So for say a 4 hour per day VA hired directly, you'll be at about $440 per month. and at 8 hours per day, about 800, to $900 a month. So basically, it's 50% saving. Now, some agencies have even a higher markup than what I'm showing you here. So, summarizing, hiring direct will save you somewhere between $2,000 to $8,000 a year per VA. Now, I don't know about you, but there's a lot of things a lot of things I can think of how to use that funds in the business, right? Now, about 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago, I looked at these three models and said, great, I need to engineer a better solution. I couldn't find the ideal solution. So we engineered one. And that's what became the Epic Outsourcing. And it was kind of inspired by this book called Wisdom of the Bees, not to mention my name is Beejel as well. But our mission here is to help clients become more efficient, productive, producing the right results, intentional, which is focused on what they should focus on, and consistent with the help of VAs and the team. And because of our success, if you go to Google, you'll see that we have plenty of 5-star reviews. Many of them are from friends who become clients and from clients who become friends like Kevin Lee, right? So again, our reputation speaks for itself. We look at this industry very differently from almost every single other company. So here's how we do things differently. First of all, professional hiring. I mentioned before, we have a multinational team that manages a 12-step hiring process. Step one, the green, is where we need input from you. And step 11 is where you come in and actually interview the VA. Everything in between, all the heavy lifting, all the filtering, all the getting rid of the bad resumes is on us and the team. Now, the reality is we have a pool of around 300 vetted VAs. So when a client comes to us, we first go to the pool that we already have that matches your job requirements. If we don't have somebody, we basically then put out an ad and we look for that person, and we basically do all that steps 1 to 10 on your behalf. You come in step 11, you do the final round of interviews, and then once you've selected somebody, you just send them a job offer outlining what your agreements are. Now, that's great. We can help you with the hiring. But what we really pride ourselves on is what I call the ongoing performance optimization, right? So think of us as your ongoing HR department. You've got your team member, they're working with you. There's an issue. You run up to your HR department. You say, "Hey, look, I've got an issue or challenge with my newly hired person. Can you help me?" That's our role, right? So we provide support to you Monday to Friday. We listen to your challenges. Sometimes the challenges are to do with attendance or attitude. We then look at how we can improve the performance of your VAs. So basically, think of us as you have a hotline to your own VA, EA, HR team, right? But more than that, we pioneered an AI-powered what I call rapid outsourcing optimization technology, which means is in the onboarding phase, which is about 2 months, you get an email every Friday asking you to rate your VA's performance. And that goes through an AI model and comes out as guidance for your VA. Optionally, you can allow your VA to provide feedback to you that goes through a different AI model and comes out as feedback to you. Not every client is open to that. Some clients don't want feedback from their VAs. That's understandable. In that case, your VA tells us, and then we might contact you and give you some suggestions and recommendations on how to improve that relationship, because it is truly a two-way relationship, right? And again, these AI models is built on a collective over 30 years of experience between me and my leadership team on working in between clients, entrepreneurs, business owners, and VAs and EAs. Now, we also support your VAs as well. We have Monday to Friday chat support, same way you can contact us, your VAs can contact us. If they have a challenge with you for any reason, they can contact us and we basically will talk to them, talk to you. Bi-monthly live trainings. In fact, we're about to switch to weekly because we're launching a brand new program. And we also provide recorded courses as well. Some of these courses, we provide certifications to your VAs, just to show, so that they feel they're earning something as they're going through education. Courses and trainings on AI, high level, and our new ELSA model as well. Now, something that we do very unique in the industry is we actually hire VAs in clusters, We have a team, our main team is in Davao, Philippines. We have a team in Manila. We have a team in Nairobi, in South Africa, and in Colombia, in Medellin and Bogota in Colombia. Why do we do this? Because we want your VAs to feel part of something bigger. Even though they're working with you directly, you're paying them directly, right? We want them to be able to get together, have team building events, team bonding events, team training events. And this is one of the things that makes us unique and why I believe we have such a high success record of attracting high quality VAs. And here's what we know. Through our model of allowing you to pay your VAs directly, VAs can actually earn more. You're actually going to be able to enhance the quality of life by saving money, not going through an agency, but paying them directly. Now, with that, they can buy homes, they can buy cars, they can even improve the quality of their life, and buy their dream computer setup, etc. So we're always looking at this from two perspectives: the paying client and the serving client, and how do we serve both, right? So here's a quick glimpse at our fees. So, as I mentioned, you're going to be paying the VAs directly. VAs typically start around $5 per hour and upwards. EAs typically around $7 per hour and upwards. Now we have two options for the hiring setup fee. Option A is $497 for one VA, and option B is $997, good for up to four VAs, plus some bonuses, which I'll go over in just a second. Now, if you go with option A, you're paying $175 a month to us to manage the VA performance. If you go with option B, you're going to be paying $125 per month per VA. Thus, you'll save yourself around $600 per year per VA, right? Now, why do I say up to four VAs? As I mentioned, there's a lot of different tasks and activities that a business needs help with. So even though we always generally recommend starting with an ELSA level VA, over time, you might want to hire VAs specifically for social media, specifically for LinkedIn, specifically for, say, cold calling or warm cold calling. So as your team needs expand, we don't want to keep charging over and over again. So we basically created a package that will foresee the needs of most clients as they expand their business. Now, regardless of which program you choose, A or B, we ask you to deposit 50% of what you're going to be paying the VA as a refundable, 100% refundable security deposit. Why do we do this? Because in the ideal world, a client will always pay their VAs on time. In the real world, clients sometimes forget, they get busy, they're on a cruise, they can't pay the VAs, and sometimes, clients just flake out. So this protects the interest of our VAs. The same way we protect the interest of our clients, we protect the interest of the VAs. So if they do a month's worth of work or 2 weeks worth of work and the client doesn't pay for any reason, we have the ability to pay the VA, right? And at the time we basically complete the working with you, you say, Beejel, this is great, I'm moving on. We just give that money back to you, right? So what does this look like financially? Because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're still saving money with our model, which is very different from every other company out there. So at 2 hours per day, you're going to save around $1,000 per year. At 4 hours per day, you're going to probably save yourself anywhere between $3,500 to $4,000 per year. And at 8 hours per day, you're probably going to be saving around $9,000 per year with our model, right? So again, even though we have a different and unique pricing model, we're very transparent. You know exactly how much the VA is making. We never take a penny from the VAs. We don't take a cut. They don't give us any backhanders. What you pay them is what you pay them, right? Again, where we make our money is that ongoing performance optimization, right? Now, if you do go with option B, the 997, there's a few bonuses I want to kick in for being on this webinar today. Number one is we develop what we call the Spirit Dashboard. It really stands for Spirit Operations and Systems, which means that we've created a document that will train your VA to use or your EA to use that'll help track your systems, your intentions, your KPIs, all your data that allows you to keep your business on track. Now, why have we done this? Because data is critical for our business. And yet most entrepreneurs do not like to look at data, they don't like to track data, and they don't make data-based decisions. So the Spirit Dashboard is what we've developed to help you, track all that. So basically, we track your systems, the roles of your team, the issues that come up in your business, your KPIs, the intentions. And we have a methodology that we teach you and your VA of tracking and holding you accountable to your daily intentions, and tracking your scorecard as well, right? Also, we're going to give you a systems and AI audit. So one of our senior team members, she'll meet with you for about 45 minutes to an hour, and she'll go over your current goals. What systems can we recommend to achieve those goals? And then what's the role of the operator? So this is a little bit higher level. This is basically now getting to systems outsourcing, but this is where you want to get to. And it's good to have a blueprint, a roadmap of what those systems might be for your company. Next, I recorded a 12 module course. It's called Bees Outsourcing Leadership Development, also known as BOLD with our team. And basically, it's 15 years of my knowledge of how to step up and be a great outsourcing leader slash manager and basically get the most out of your team, right? We're also going to get 12 weeks of outsourcing leadership calls. We do the calls every Thursday at 8 a.m. In those calls, we go over monthly planning, monthly outsourcing planning. We look at what systems and AI could you integrate into your business. We look at performance support for your team. We answer Q&A about, any topic related to VAs and EAs in that. And that's at Thursday at 8 a.m. PST. And you get 12 weeks of those calls. We also will give you access to the process hive. So we have over 200, I think it's actually maybe 280 now, documented processes. So when you start working with us, hey Bijal, do you have a process for X? We'll go to our library. If you don't have one, we'll be able to quickly get one made up and give you the kind of the step-by-step process. You may then take that template and tweak it for your own needs. But again, it's just a time-saving resource that you have access to. I'm a big fan of our event promo flywheel. It's been our most consistent lead generation method. And again, Jobin, who implements this, will meet with you and your newly hired VA or EA. She'll run you through the checklist, what needs to be done. And then she'll give you the checklist as well. And then at that point, you can either, use your VA to implement that for you, or we can basically help you, with that as well. I recently started training. So I'm a big believer in LinkedIn, but I haven't been using it consistently until fairly recently. So I basically started attending LinkedIn trainings. But when I attend trainings, I look at trainings to the lens of who, not how. Obviously, we want to know how to do things, but I look at it from a perspective of who on my team can do this. And so I took one of my VAs and I started having him go through the training, and I work with him to basically start to head up our LinkedIn team. So we have a complete guide that we've written. It's a living document that I'm willing to share with you. That if you want to use your EA or VA or newly hired VA EA, that you can have access to of how to get the best out of LinkedIn using a VA. All right, so these are the 7 bonuses you get. So again, the Spirit Operating Dashboard, Systems AI Call, access to my leadership development course, the weekly live group calls, access to over 200 SOPs, the event promo flywheel checklist, and a one-on-one call with Jobin. So once you've hired somebody, she'll spend an hour with you, go over the checklist, exactly how we do it. And then you'll also get the LinkedIn Authority Builder and Prospecting Guide. So again, if you hire a VAEA, we'll basically give you and them the guide and tell you what they should be doing to basically maximize your LinkedIn presence there as well. Now, we also have a triple peace of mind risk-free guarantee. Now, risk-free guarantee number 1, if you change your mind in the first 30 days, we give you your money back, right? So you've got 30 days to think about it, talk with us, meet with us. And again, if you feel that we're not the right team for you, that's fine. We'll give your money back. Now, guarantee number 2, VA performance. If you hire a VA and you're not happy with the VA or EA, we'll find a suitable replacement for you at no additional cost. This is basically lifetime. So this might be in the first 30 days. It might be 6 months from now. It might be 12 months from now. It might be 2 years from now. You come to us, say, Bijal, Jovin, I hired Mary. She was really great in the beginning, but now her performance has dropped off. I think I need someone new. Then we're going to replace that person for no cost to you. The only time we will take one of your credits off is if you hire a different position. Let's say you hired Mary for social media, and now you want to hire John for, say, technology. That's a different hire. Now, triple guarantee number three is lifetime replacement of that position. So if the VA decides to leave you for any reason, maybe they're moving on, maybe they've got a different job, whatever, then again, the onus is on us to replace that individual, no additional cost to you for the same position, right? So that's our triple peace of mind risk-free guarantee. And again, really where I take pride is when someone like Kevin can come on to host an event like this and talk about his 12-month anniversary with his VA. That's exactly what we want. We're not looking for, 1 month relationships. We're looking for relationships that extend 5 years. Many of our clients that we started back in 2020, are still clients today, and that's what we take the most pride in. So again, this is just, a generic presentation. It hopefully has given you some takeaways. What we'd like to do though is chat to you in person. Schedule a call with Jovin, have a conversation. She's my EA. She understands the industry from a VA perspective. She'll be able to give you perspective from a VA, EA angle of the best use of that talent, even if you're on a budget, right? Even if you're on say a $10 per day budget, what's the best use of that VA in those 2 hours? What can they do to move the needle in your business, right? Okay, so I think I'm going to jump to part six, which is Q&A. While I do the Q&A, if you would be kind enough, I told you how to get the guide. Please just go ahead and send an email to Jovin. I was trying to create a QR code so you could download it, but this is probably the easiest way. Just email Jovin at beepicdaily.com, and she'll share the guide with you, which has all the different lead gen, sales, and brand building activities or tactics that your VA can do for you. And again, if you took some value out of our time together today, if you can just take 2 minutes and leave a review, I'd greatly appreciate it. Not only are we an outsourcing, company in terms of finding a VA for you, we're also an education company too, that teaching people the benefits of outsourcing and working with VAs and different ways to work with VAs as well. So I truly appreciate that. But what I'll do now is stop sharing my screen, and happy to take some questions.
That was fantastic. I will say that I even get things out of it every time I see these presentations, because I've been to a few of your other ones. It's a great reminder. I forget what I've forgotten, and it kind of corrects me. And looking at your flywheel, I was really looking at it because Kay and I have already begun to put something like that together. Where are all the free places can I get in front of people so they can consider coming to whatever I'm offering or sharing? And I saw some things that I'd kind of forgotten about, and they make sense why they're important to you. So yeah, I really appreciate that.
Kevin, just there's a lot of Facebook groups that are spiritually orientated, and sometimes you pay to post, and sometimes it's valuable content. And a lot of them are very happy for you to post, free training events in those groups. So what I would probably have Kay do is do some research on Facebook.
Yep. Okay, I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. Anyone questions? You can unmute and speak. Miss Sarah?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hi there. Great presentation. With respect from being a podcaster and interviewing people on their branding, it's always what I call the why show. Why are they doing what they're doing? What led them to doing it? Who does it serve and how does it serve them? But most of the people that I'm interviewing are solopreneurs, either on their own or a small group. And, I wear all the hats. I understand many people do. So of course I'm inviting you on the podcast to come and share what you're doing because, that's my audience. But I don't think people realize, I think the biggest problem is what you addressed is there's so many people out there. We don't know the ethics behind the people that we're hiring. We don't know the system. Where's the support? Is there accountability? You want to build a relationship with a VA that they get you, right? So you haven't got to explain something every time. And I think it's something that it benefits them and it benefits us. But when we look at it from a relationship point of view, it's your team. And you want that kind of tag team where maybe they see something you're not seeing and vice versa, and it just helps you on your way. So it helps an awful lot of people that have started out in business, especially coaches, because suddenly they get busy and it's like, well, how do I do the lead sales, or the booking, or the following up? And all of a sudden I've got all this demand and I've got to do this and I've got to do that, and the ball drops.
Yeah.
One of those hats falls off. So it's excellent that what you've put together here. I am going to have to go, unfortunately, because I have another meeting to go to, the 6th today. But I do thank you very much for your presentation, and I will be emailing you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Great chatting to you.
William?
Yes, Kevin, good to see you again. Thanks
Good to
for
see
a
you.
shout out
You're
early
welcome.
on. Yeah. So, Beejel, right? Did I say it right? Beejel. Again, I sort of knew about VAs enough to be dangerous. I've got a team in Ukraine I've used as sort of my VA team, but they're not trained. They're sort of, they just do tasks like we talked about. So two things come to mind with your comprehensive, excellent presentation. Well done. That is, if I have a couple of coaching business partners that we're collaborating on some projects, and we recognize that we need some VA help. Give me the pros and cons of your experience on sharing with partners. Because for example, Rod might have his agenda, I have mine, but we just want to dip our toe into the water. So we're looking at one VA, and we like your system. So that's number one. The second one is probably an easier question. The geography split. Like if we're US based, our clients are US based. Obviously, the folks in Colombia are time zone probably easier, but we might do a go-to in Philippines, which is exactly opposite, and they're on a lunar schedule. So you can get to that next.
So let me answer both questions. I'll start with the second question first. So all of our Philippine-based VAs, we vet to ensure that they are okay and happy working US time zone. Like Kay is working. It's probably what time is it, Kay, right now for you?
It's 2 in the morning.
Yeah, so 2 a.m. for Kay and for Joven there. And again, look, it's and I'm not saying it's an ideal situation for people in the Philippines, but many of them have come up through the outsourcing industry, where many of them have worked through the nights before, and it's an option. We don't force our team members to do it, but we say, look, hey, this is a client. Now, I will say this though, William, if you are US based, I do always recommend that your VA, no matter where you hire them from, will happy to work your time zone, not reluctantly work your time zone, right? And that's a really key thing. That's what we ask, before we even, as part of our matching process, let's just say we were kind of matching you with Kay, for certain example, we'd tell Kay, hey, Kay, we have a client for you. His name's William. Here's the job description, but he works, say, East Coast time. Are you happy to work East Coast time, right? And that's the key thing. Some VAs will say, yeah, I'll work, and then after 2-3 months they'll be like, well, William, is it okay if I kind of start my shift at 5 p.m., which is kind of when they wake up? And then the clients, because now they've hired that person for 3 months, like, okay, Kay, sure, and again, and I'm not saying it can't work. I'm saying that you don't get the best out of your team, right? Because I want to end my day at 5, right? I mean, our end of day is 6 p.m. I want to let Joven go. I want to go so she can, because Joven's 6 p.m. is kind of her morning. That's where she goes, drops the kids off to school, then she goes and takes rest. So we want to build a rhythm for the team. Now, let me answer your first question, because it's a little bit more complex, okay? Not complex from our side, complex from your side. And here's why. It makes sure there's no conflicting tasks coming to the VA, right? So a lot of times we have a VA working, say, for a husband-wife combination, right? And the wife is telling the VA one thing, the husband's telling the other thing, and then the VA does the thing, and it's not what the wife expected. So now the wife gets upset to the VA, not realizing it was the husband. Now you're talking about probably a different professional relationship, but the conflict can come really more in terms of one partner overusing the time, or so it's really more of an agreement that your partner or partners will have with the VA. Is it going to be done? Okay, you're going to share the VA from 10 to 12. Your partner will have it from 12 to 2. Or is it that the VA is serving the business, right? So if it's the same business, Then it's more of a question of, hey, create a task log and document who's giving you what to do and what priority. So it's a little bit more of a kind of a management setup in terms of how you guys decide, hey, look, we've got one resource between two, three of us. Um, how do we make sure that we don't overwhelm the VA and we don't pull him in too many different directions that he becomes ineffective for us, right? Now, here's the secret, and it's in the slide. Most clients will hire a VA and wake up and think, what task do I delegate today? Right? And that doesn't work if you're expanding a team. The VA should have systems that they own and operate. So even if you and your partners are out off on the road or doing your own thing, the VA is not waiting around to be told what to do. They have system ownership, they're system operators, system ownership, and system reporting. So Kay can come in, or Kay or Jovan or someone, of that nature can come in. They know that, okay, the systems I own are X, Y, and Z. And so what I would like you and your partner to think about is, what are the systems in the business that if you didn't delegate a single task, right, but only gave them the responsibility of running the systems, what would those systems be as your foundational starting point? Then you can throw them your one-off task. Hey, do you mind doing some research on this topic, right? But that's not their main task. Their main task is to operate the systems that are aligned to achieving certain goals or overcoming certain challenges in the business.
Excellent point. Which leads me to, I've got specific things in mind. So it's not like, oh, let's do this today. It is systems for direct outcome. If you don't mind, can you put the chart back up where you have where you buy either the one VA or the up to 4 VA,
Yeah.
and help me understand that, because if we're going to go with one part-time VA, again, just try and see how it works. Is not that chart. It's the one where you explain. Yeah, you have to go back a little bit. Yeah. But is that something that is so okay? So if we want to start,
Sorry,
maybe here, yeah, okay, this one, yeah, the option A. If we wanted to go half-time with option A, and then we go to full-time option A, and then we decide, this is working out great, let's go to option B. You've got some kind of stair-step graduated system, correct? I mean,
so yes and no. Let me re-explain, right? So let's remove columns 1 and 4 for a second. Let's just focus on the middle two columns, right? So we give you two starting points. Option A is 497 for one VA. And if you go with that option, then you're going to be paying us $175 a month per VA that we support. If you come back to us, say 2 months from now, and say, yeah, we're ready to hire our second VA, we're going to charge you another 497 and another 175 per month, right? So option B is kind of our special offer, right? It's a little bit of a teaser. So you pay 997 today, right? But it's going to include hiring up to 4 VAs anytime in the future. You can come back to us at 12 months from now, 2 years from now, and say, Beejel, we're ready for VA number 2. It's already included in the 997, right?
I see.
But the benefit of doing that is not only do we reduce the monthly fee down. So if we're paying $500 more today, you're going to have the benefit of being able to hire up to 3 more VAs in the future. We also reduced the monthly from 175 to 125, thus saving you $600 per year per VA. So basically, it's our bottom line offer that we can do.
So I'm clear on that part, but what if we don't need, or if it's seasonal, like we have a conference coming up next month in Orlando, and we want to have like the purpose of the VA is to follow up on inviting folks, get their commitment, take care of all the admin stuff, and then when it's over, another part of that, and then it might go quiet for a while. So instead of being full-time, it's part-time. So do we have the option of flex time? In other words,
what you can do, like, we don't encourage this, and we don't think it's the best way to have a VA relationship, but you can pause working with that VA. So let's say you need a VA for the 2-3 months of the conference. You hire John. John works for you for 2-3 months, and then say, you know what, we're kind of done with John for now, right? Maybe we'll need him 3 months' time when we do our second conference. You pause the setup fee, the 175 pauses, you pause working with John, and you come back and you say, hey, I want to rehire John for the same position, we're not going to charge you $497 again. We're going to just turn on the support fee, right? Now, the option B is basically that you foresee yourself, A, wanting more support from us because of our live calls. You know that over time, you're probably going to add a second or third. And even if you don't, you still save money across the year. You're still saving $600 per year with option B.
What if I need John full time for those 2 months, and I just want to keep John, but I don't need him full time. I just need him 2 hours a day.
That's fine. Yeah, you just let John know. Here's what we can't guarantee though. Let's say you reduce John from full time to 2 hours per day,
Mhm.
and now 3 months in 3 months time, you need John full time again. John may have other clients.
I see.
We'll never
Okay.
guarantee that a 2 hour per day VA can go back to full time because of their other commitments, right?
Can my VA in 6 months become my EA and be the same person, and I just give her more responsibility, or is that a different pipeline?
It's not a different pipeline, it's a different type of person. Not every VA has the characteristics to be an EA. It's not what they do, it's their natural characteristics, right?
So do we need to start if we want an EA, we need to start on the EA pipeline?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
All right, you might want to add that part to your presentation because that wasn't clear. It seems like they could cross over into the other side if they were competent and caring, and you had some time with them.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I did semi-address it on one slide, which is the difference between the VA and EA.
I did see that.
Because those characteristics are hard to train. Like you can tell somebody be more confident,
I see.
but they're not going to become more confident.
Got it. Okay. Now,
It's either they are or they aren't, just naturally speaking, right? Now, I will tell you this. There's a lot of people who will write EA on their resume or apply for EA roles. In fact, we get this all the time because they believe they can earn more money as an EA. And that's not true. We have some VAs that are, say, tech specialists that earn more than some of our EAs, right? So it's not even an earning thing. It's more, do they have the characteristic to be an EA is the key thing.
okay, excellent points. Again, you're in the space. I don't know what I don't know, so I'm just asking sort of these questions because they were
These are
top
great
of mind.
questions. These are great. I love questions because it gives us a chance to add some more value to the conversation.
All right. That's all from me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, William.
Perfect. I think Marie is, there's no more questions. Marie's going to be, she might drop off. Probably has to go. I'll talk to her more also. So there she is. I know that face. It's okay. You're muted, my dear. Good to see you.
If I'm on camera, everybody's going to drop off. I look like.
No, that's my Florida
Marie,
girl.
I just read your question.
Oh.
One of the things that we pride ourselves on, Marie, is we take a very consultative approach when we work with clients because we're not looking for a quick sell. We're looking to make sure that when you hire a VA, you're going to get an ROI, right? That's why I brought up that ROI model. We want to make sure that when you hire a VA, in fact, in our books, less is more. We actually look for clients to start with less things than more things. Based on where they're at, because we know that if the VA can do those less things well for you and those less things make an impact for you, you're going to either hire more VAs or extend their hours. What we don't want is to hire a VA, say full-time, and now you feel stretched, you feel overwhelmed, you're burning through cash, and then you feel like it's no longer a value for money. That's what we want to prevent.
Right. And I've been there. Kevin knows me. And unfortunately, I'm still kind of in the same place I was last year, Kevin.
It's okay.
But trying to get my internet life together. And what I have found with VAs is exactly what you said. Is it Beejel?
Beejel.
Yeah. They tend to be task people, which is great if you know what task to give them. And then I'm always in a place where I don't even know what I should give them and orders and SOPs and all that sort of thing. So now I'm not doing what I thought I was going to do when Kevin and I first met. And so now I still have my little CBD business that I would like to scale a little bit more, the online sale, but I'm out of business right now because of compliance, long story. Right. And now I'm doing master resale rights, and it's a lot of posting and videos and stuff. And I just procrastinate like I'm on this call instead of posting.
Yeah.
So it would be great to have someone be able to make the posts. And because you got to post a lot, and set up a YouTube channel, and how do you do that, and all that stuff, and that's all fine, but it just takes so much time. And I'm severely ADHD, so my attention span is like a gnat has a bigger attention span than I do. And so for me, it's this constant chasing my tail of, okay, what do I do? Then I get distracted, and I know it's my own thing. Da 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 da. So this little conversation is exactly like my life, and that's why I really do need to have a system in place, but I feel like I need to be a more organized with a more thoughtful, if you will, place in my brain.
So I'll give you a little, so not even a trick. Here, it's called a forcing function. Sometimes we like, and here's a forcing function. You've been procrastinating over, say, creating a course. So one way to make sure you get it done is go live with the course. So hey, I'm starting my course next week, Friday, right? So now it's called a forcing function because now you put it out there, you have no choice but to create the course, right? I'm like that with webinars, right? Like I've been sitting on doing a webinar. The only way I'll get it done is when I know I have to deliver a webinar, right? So that's just who we are, right? Some of us are just natural procrastinators, and so we create forcing functions. So in something like this, when you hire a VA, it often forces you to get organized, especially if you've been someone who's unorganized for so long, because now you have to create some level of structure, some level. Now it can go both ways. I'm going to be honest with you. Some people will attempt that, and they're just so disorganized they just can't get themselves to even meet with the VA and work through it. But for a lot of people, the fact they have somebody on their team, and then if you're willing to add in one more piece, which is to meet with your team member every single day, Marie, in the first, say 2 months of this relationship, and just work on getting the systems out of your head, getting the things out of the to-do list, and work with the VA on them taking this on, it will be transformational, right? That's just kind of like my little tidbit there.
Thank you.
William.
BJ, I just thought of something else. If we hire a executive assistant, and the event goes well, and because of her follow-up, I'm not discriminating against guys. I'm just discriminating in favor of women, because so many of our clients, we're focused on women, and especially women coaches. So if we get because of their direct activity, we get more participation and our revenue goes up. Can we bonus them directly?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You're paying the VA directly. One of the benefits is that if you want to pay them sales commission, you can do that, right? If you want to bonus them, say end of month performance, we encourage it. We don't take a cut from it. That's a relationship between you and the VA. But for something that's sales orientated, we often will encourage, hey, if you can add a few more dollars to every time they achieve a level of success for you, it's going to encourage them to even do better for you.
Okay, so there's a revenue sharing model, a bonus sharing. That's so okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so what's the next step? Just do the discovery call, fill out the form, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to share, just because there's a couple of you here, you're friends of mine that I know, but I want to share this. I've had VAs for probably 8 years, and most of I'd say probably for the last 7 of those 8 years before I met Beejel and Epic Outsourcing, a lot of mine was people that I would find on the internet or through directories. And I didn't understand there were different levels of VAs. I just thought they do what you tell them to do. And I wasn't thinking systems. I was thinking tasks. That's really where my mind was. And I'm going to tell you, I've been ghosted. People disappeared. They disappeared with my product, with some of my things, because I didn't set up my systems right. And but one of the things also was they weren't bought into me. And one thing that I appreciated about Epic Outsourcing was that it's a conscious company. And I don't know if you noticed that they literally care about the employees. It's not about making profit off of them, but it's about building community and working with them and making them a part of the mission and the message and everything they're doing. which is why they're building they've created team building events back in the different countries, and why they do ongoing management and training for the employees. And I didn't, in my individual VAs never had any of that. They had no benefits. They had no one backing them. They had no one to call when there's emotional crisis going on in their life or their family. And, or they didn't know how to deal with me being overbearing. So, they had no one to run to. And I noticed that this company was conscious. And I say that because it was heart focused. And that is important to me, that they treat their staff and their employees right. And that they're approaching the building a business in a way that is building conscious community, right? It's more than just profit. It's really about connecting with community and growing together. And that's important to me. That's purpose-driven business. And that's why I chose the company, and I've seen nothing but good. Because when I have little problems or challenges with how do I deal with this or create this, or I'm really struggling in my business, and I call Jovan and she gives me some little pointers, and off I go in a new direction for another 3 months. So I appreciate that I can call, and I appreciate that I've got backup for my assistant when he has family issues that are maybe affecting his performance, and I notice it. And so then we deal with it and we move on. And I appreciate that, because I don't have to deal with some of that. I don't want to deal with some of it. And so I feel like I have support, and that's what I appreciate the most.
Beejel, is there will there be a recording of the consolidated version where I could send it to my partner Rod, so I don't have to try explaining to him everything that you said so eloquently?
If he's able to join you on the call with Jovan, that would probably be the best, because she'll go over some of the finer points of this on the call.
Oh, the discovery call.
Yeah, when you meet with Jovan, she'll go over some of the key points we discussed. There isn't a summarized version of this presentation. There is a summarized version of kind of the pricing point on the website. But I would try and have your partner on the call with Jovan if you can.
I see. All right, great. Okay, thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you.
Best of luck, William.
All right, appreciate it.
Bye, guys.
All right. Listen, you guys have an awesome day. Great to see you, Marie, William, Jovan, and Beejel. Good to see you. And thank you, Kay, for supporting. We'll see everyone soon.
It was a great
Take
call.
care.
Thank you.